So today I'm going to make some fruit pie. I'm going to put in some plain flour and some wholemeal flour for added fibre. And to that I'm going to put in fat. So what I've got here is some baking margarine. I've got 250 grams of flour in total and 125 grams of margarine. So I'm just going to break it up, and then I'm going to use the tips of my fingers to rub the margarine into the flour to coat every grain of flour with a bit of fat. This is called shortcrust pastry. Lift it up as you do it to introduce extra air, and just keep rubbing until all the lumps of fat, the margarine, has been rubbed in to the flours. If you think you've rubbed it all in, you can do a quick check by shaking the bowl, seeing if any large lumps come to the surface, and then you can rub those in separately. Make sure they're all completely rubbed in. The mixture should resemble fine breadcrumbs. It should look like this when it's rubbed in. The next stage is to add the water. The water should be cold, and I'm just going to get some in the jug. And what I'm doing is going to add into here some cold water. Now I've got a total of 250 grams of flour here, so I'm going to need 3 to 4 tablespoons of cold water, probably 4 because it's wholemeal. And that's slightly more absorbent. Stir that in with a knife until the mixture starts to come together. If it feels a little bit dry, don't try and force it, just add a bit more water. The thing with wholemeal flour is it's quite absorbent, so sometimes it will take more water than others depending on which particular place in the world the flours come from, and absorbency rates vary through the year. Okay, when you can feel that it's going to start to stick together, then you just use your fingers to just gently push the mixture together. Should be able to form one large ball of dough. Okay, once you've got your dough, then the idea is with shortcrust pastry you handle it as little as you possibly can. The more you handle it, the tougher it becomes, because the gluten strands, the strands of protein, become longer and longer, and with that they become tougher and tougher and much more difficult to handle and to roll out. So once the water goes in, try to remember to handle it as little as possible. Now I need to divide it roughly in half, slightly larger half, it's not actually a half, slightly bigger piece for the bottom, and just knead it very lightly just to get it to the round shape that you require. Then lightly dust the surface with some flour, same for the rolling pin, and then because you're making it into a circle to fit there, you need to try and maintain that circle shape all the time. So roll and reshape regularly. Remember, it's a rolling pin, so it's got to be one roll with the pin, not really pushing it too hard. Don't want it to stick to the table or to the rolling pin, so constantly moving it making sure it's floured. If you get bits sticking on the rolling pin, take them off as you're going along so that you don't have holes in your pastry. Now the idea is you have to make this pastry large enough to fit obviously into the bottom and come up the sides as well. So you need to make sure it's slightly bigger all the way around than the tin. Use the rolling pin to pick it up, pop it on top of your tin that you're using. Now when you're making the pastry, the idea is you don't want to stretch it outwards, you really want to try and actually push it into the tin so that all the time you're pushing down all the way around here to get in as much as you can to the case. If you stretch it outwards instead of pushing it inwards, when it's in the oven it will shrink back and it will be all not fitting very well. So really push that in all the way around. Make sure there's some hanging over the top and just put a tiny bit of water or milk along that top edge so that when you put the lid on, it will seal and stick together. Rolling out the second part, the top, ready to go on to the pie. Heat process. Moving so it doesn't stick. Now I've already prepared the filling for my apple pie. I've peeled and stewed some Bramley apples. So I've got those ready already, and I'm going to add to them some tin fruit as well, some tin blackberries. So I've got making an apple and blackberry pie. So my filling is here. I've drained the blackberries and I've got the apples here ready. Didn't cook any sugar in with the apple, so I'm going to just sweeten it slightly with some sugar as well. Not too much. Certainly not as much as is in the pot there. Okay, because I've already prepared the top of the pastry with the milk, I'm now ready to pop the lid onto the pie. And just use my thumb to press around the outside edge to seal the two edges together. At this point I can pick the pie up and just use a round bladed knife to trim off all the excess. It's better to have a little bit to cut off, which you can use to make jam tarts or any other savoury filled tart that you wish, rather than trying to have too little and stretching it. Then sealing it, you can either just use your thumb around the edge, which I like to use the thumb and the knife at the same time, to make a pattern around the outside edge, or of course you could use a fork just to push the two edges together. Okay, I'm going to make a little hole at the top to let out some steam. Some people like to decorate the top of the pie with a pastry leaf or something like that, which you can do if you wish to. Remember, they have to be the same sort of thickness of pastry. as the rest of it, otherwise it tends to be a bit doughy. I'm glazing the top with the milk. You could use an egg wash to give the surface a nice shiny finish and add a little bit of extra colour when it's baking in the oven. And that can then go onto a baking tray and into the hot oven. The oven's already on, it's on 200, so we'll pop that in for about 30 minutes. Pastry will be golden, it will be firm, and hopefully it'll be a lovely smell as well. Okay, time to see if the pie's done. Okay, is it golden? Is the pastry firm? Is it crisp? Yes it is, all of those things. So there's the pie, and after it's cooled down slightly, for a few minutes, you can dust the top with some sugar. There we go, homemade apple and blackberry pie.